wish I could zoom.
Mm.
Actually, I wish I could zoom out to be more specific.
Everybody
to be even more specific.
Anybody watching that just went.
It's an instinct too to do that. Like, yeah.
You're basically my cousin growing up. Like to make literal jokes.
Yes, so much. Well, I did that with Zeb this week in Discord.
I saw that.
He's like, boy, good thing I see Ted in my life again. Like, so I get this shit from him.
Airports where planes land, but it's not important right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, my volume, I will adjust. I did not do my preset. It's applying now.
Yeah.
And how does that sound?
Much better.
Yeah.
See? I need to build a checklist. Oh, and let me check my settings.
We're recording something before this, and I realized I was talking, and I was going like this, and I was talking like this. And I'm like, good thing we're not live on the podcast when I'm not talking into the microphone. So
I'll have to get one of those Rod Machado, headset things.
Yeah.
Do you
remember there used to be a gag gift that was like to hold your phone against your ear, and it was basically just a big rubber band that just like went like that.
Oh yeah.
I'm not going to talk about it on the pod, but Dom and I were going to go flying on Saturday, and I said, okay, my limits are below 30 and gusting below 40, like not at but below. I was, like I knew they were going to be high, and I had to set it like to something, and that's a lot. And I wouldn't set it that high if I didn't have experience with it. But it's like I still need to set it because it's really easy to get out there, and 25 gusting 37 turns into 25 gusting 48, and yeah, that's a little much. So, but the difference is that at Barry's airport across the way, it'll be gusting in two different directions on the same runway. So, yeah,
you're gonna have a tailwind and a headwind, which way you go.
Oh, he's had it, yeah. So, it's actually brutal coming through the gorge, like right at that narrowing point, and it's like that's always when it's the bumpiest, and you have to start getting down for the airspace, and it's like I'm not comfortable here. I'm just, yeah. All right.
We got a big crowd.
I'm actually trying to figure out what the weather was today for my little bit of fun. I was trying to remember I can't remember what the winds were.
Is it listed on your FlySo?
Yeah, I'm looking, and it doesn't seem. I wonder if it's just because I was not.
Do you mind sharing the link with me before we start this?
The link of
what? You're talking about it to your FlySo.
How would you do that? Oh, share.
Put it in Discord.
That is such a Ben question to ask. I'm almost embarrassed for you.
Include view settings. Okay, yeah. All right, so can I just put it in here?
Oh, yeah, that'll work. Yeah.
Okay. I'm still just trying to.
Yeah, I knew you were going to talk about it. I wanted to visual. I know most people are, but
it's really interesting.
Yeah.
Anyway, well, we'll stop talking cryptically for people online that have no idea what we're talking about.
Interesting. Takeoff and landing are a minute apart.
There's a teaser.
Entire flight, yeah. Okay, but did you log it as a 10th?
I'm going to definitely log it.
Yeah.
Oh wow, you can even see where I taxied and was. I wonder if I can get into these tie downs over here because I don't know what I'm going to do.
But yeah, it doesn't. I thought it always had weather right there, but
yeah, it usually does.
I remember. Oh, hey, see where it says the airport identifier, and it has the green sun. Just hover over the sun.
Oh.
So 340 at 7.
Don't worry, chat room. I have no idea what they're talking about either. So we're
even if you saw it, you wouldn't though, Ben. So
right. No, you're right.
Wait, so 2100 and then 2035. Because it was more like I believe it was more like the 6 gusting 17, but maybe it had settled.
Well, this was 5 minutes before 2100, so
So it was
yeah, it's
the closest
six gusting
report
17. Yeah,
would be 290 at 6 gusting 17.
yeah,
That's ridiculous. Okay.
it's a fun one. Yeah. All right.
All right, we ready to go now?
Yeah, we're ready.
Yeah. We are recording there. We're recording here.
Ooh,
I'm going to
Gita's got
find
a
the right
good
graphic.
swag suggestion.
Who does?
Gita.
Oh, okay. I'll go back and look at it in a sec. All right, go. Pet Boys, the 3. I actually have a podcast shirt of that, but yeah.
Okay.
Welcome to the Midlife Pilot podcast. What is it like to become a pilot in midlife? The challenges are unique, but so are the rewards. Hosts Ben, Brian, and Ted talk learning to fly, growing as pilots, and the joy of flying to destinations. The purpose of the podcast is not to teach, but to share knowledge and experiences. You definitely should not take any advice too seriously from an aviation podcast that uses terms like icing on the vegetables. Okay, checklists are complete. Let's get the show started.
Hello and welcome to episode 164 of the Midlife Pilot podcast, where we share the experiences and challenges of flying in midlife. Tonight is the last of our 3-part series, The Ultimate Guide to Becoming a Midlife Pilot. My name is Ben, and I am a pilot based in the Atlanta metro area. With me, as always, our friend on Music Row, a man of many, many talents, continually learning new talents this guy has. It's Brian Siskin. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Welcome, everybody. Glad to be here. The chat is hopping, and Ted is almost totally in frame on the video, which is great. So I'm very excited about the possibilities for tonight.
Very cool. Also joining us, the aforementioned Tedder in Portland, Oregon. And how are things going for you, sir?
Hey, they're going really good. Yeah. You know, you said it's the third of 3 on the show, and it always makes me think of Car Talk because they talk about the third half of the show. And I just always appreciate the third half of the show. That seems very much like
the third
us.
half is always the best.
Yes.
Tonight, well, let's catch up on some recent flying because I had an adventurous day. Brian, if you don't mind, I would like to maybe mention we've got a few people in the chat that I wanted to give a call out to, and you had a pretty exciting day as well. I think yours would be better suited to go last. So today, or last night, Lord Alpha Juliet reached out to me and said, hey, why don't you come meet a friend of yours, came down from Tennessee, Josh V. and Keith. There is a mechanic shop at Peach State Aerodrome, Golf Alpha 2, which is also known for its famous restaurant, Barnstormers. Unfortunately, it was closed today. But the maintenance shop is closing their doors for good, and they're having this massive sale going on. And they had like cowlings from, Stearman's and Fairchild's and just parts everywhere. And they were selling everything. And Josh had picked up, there were some drawings, some for the planes, plan designs for the Fairchild, and I think there was also one for the what's the one I just mentioned before? I'm drawing a blank. Anyway, a bunch of old plan drawings, things that would be great to mount on your wall, frame it, put it in your wall. Just there was a million things. So we decided this last night, and then in our chat tonight, Chuck K, who is out in Augusta, hasn't been on a grass field yet, or is not been checked out to land on a grass. So we met him in Griffin. AJ flew his plane with his daughter and one of his club members. And I also had Lucas, who is also known in the Discord as a French pilot in Georgia. They met at McCollum. We hopped in the plane, flew formation over the Bravo, over Hartsfield, down to Griffin. We picked up Chuck and did the very short hop into Peach State. It was an interesting situation because it's a sloped runway. The runway configuration is 1331, and AJ took off first, and he overflew the field, and we were talking on a on frequency off the CTAP. We were on fingers, and he commented. I was probably 4 or 5 miles behind him, and he commented that the winds were favoring runway 13, which is uphill, which is the one I prefer to do. And I'm crossing over midfield, doing my proper pattern entry, Brian. You'd be happy to know.
7 mile left base.
And he was landing. He got it down on the ground. And so I turned right downwind, which is the proper for that airport. They want right pattern for that runway. And I was coming in, and I looked. There's a flag, just a regular flag, at somebody's house at the end of the runway, and it was direct crosswind. So I'm like, okay, I feel like I can manage this, and I just started floating and floating and floating, and so I did my go around as I should have. Go up, do another lap in the pattern, and unfortunately, nobody on the ground had their radio. They couldn't tell me what the windsocks were doing until I was lined up, and looked at that flag, and it was starch direct tailwind. So I didn't even try to make an attempt. I went around a second time, and then came in and landed the opposite way. So 2 go-arounds I feel pretty good about. Nothing was bent. Nobody died. So, I mean, that's a plus, right?
Yeah, that's good practice. I mean, you got to have go-around practice.
Yeah, I do think there is something to do go-around proficiency. So it was good. And then we had a good time hanging out there, and then coming back was where the adventure really began. We dropped Chuck off back at his plane in Griffin, and then Lucas and I hopped in and got clearance to go through the Bravo again, and we were right over the top of Hartsfield. And I noticed out of the corner of my eye, there's a Delta jet that's not where I normally see Delta jets. Normally, they fly out 5, 10, 15 miles before they start their turn to wherever they're going. Well, this guy turned right at the end of the runway, and he's paralleling me, and he's climbing, and he's going faster than me. I'm like, well, okay, that's a bit unusual. And then next thing I know, he gets ahead of me, and he starts turning to the right again to cross right in front of me.
How dare. I mean, come on.
Look,
you know,
I was on with, they should have got him out of my way. But as it turned out, I pulled the throttle. It's the first time I've ever had to slow down for a jet. But I pulled my throttle. I wanted to make sure he crossed right in front of me, and he did. And I have the fly stow, and it turned out I was able to pick up his flight path, and he was returned. He had some type of emergency because he immediately returned to the field.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, so I guess it was a good thing that I let him go in front of me, because I'm such a giving guy. But yeah, it was pretty crazy. We were, I think, according to Flystow, I think we were about a half mile laterally and about 700 feet vertically separated. And when you're looking at a 757 in the middle of your windscreen, it doesn't feel like a half mile or 700 feet. It feels a little bit different.
When people on your plane are saying, hey, that pilot over there, that's an interesting mustache style. What is that exactly? Is that
and people in the window were probably looking at me going, wow, that Cessna looks pretty daggum close to us.
The pilot of the 7.5 is saying, and for the passengers on the right-hand side, you can look out and see the little bug that's going to smash into us. Yeah. So I have to hit this. Mr. Easy G was asking, why is it called fingers? Which is a frequency that's used air to air. There's discussion about whether it's the proper frequency or not.
There's a sanctioned frequency by the FAA.
Doesn't matter.
But nobody knows what it is.
Yeah. So, but why is it called fingers?
The chat does,
is the point. Yes.
Yeah, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
So
fingers.
The non-visual version of that is that some of us can't count to 5 without using our fingers.
There you go.
So it's easy to do that if you count on your fingers to know what the frequency is.
What is this? The sanction? Isn't it 12265?
The chat is saying
7.5.
it is 12275.
7.5.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I already passed my written test, so
Yeah, that information's long gone.
it's gone.
I'll tell you that
so
in the summer when I was flying over the desert and I was trying to find the 2 planes that were playing around on the little lake bed that I was on, I tried fingers for that reason, because I knew that's where they were going to be. So it's good to know what those various frequencies are.
I'll post my FlyStow link in the Discord, and if anybody out there is interested in looking at it. But it was good. Everything turned out great. But I don't think my heart rate was nearly as high as maybe Mr. Siskin's on his flight today. And I want to say before you start, I don't know anything other than something was going on, but I don't know what it is.
Yeah. Well, I have been instrument training quite hard every day, and if I'm not with the instructor, then I'm going up and I am doing sim instrument time. I've been going pretty hard. The plane has been doing great. I should have known when I walked out this morning and my 1985 Toyota Celica was dripping oil that that today was going to be an interesting day. But I had my trusty local mechanic eyed over, and he said, "The Celica's fine, man. Just take it to Bowling Green. It's fine." And so I drove to Bowling Green. This is, by the way, this is what I've been doing. I live in Nashville, driving an hour to Bowling Green, pulling the pre-flighting, pulling the plane out of the hangar, flying down to Gallatin X-ray, November X-ray, about 20 minutes, picking up my instructor, then going and doing a bunch of instrument practice, flying, instruction flying, whatever, then dropping him back off, or either that or landing, debriefing at his hangar, and then getting back in, flying back up to Bowling Green, and then driving an hour back. So I've already been sort of at the ends of my physical capabilities. And I don't know if you guys, Ben, do you remember your instrument training? Or did you just block it all out by now?
I have some recollection of it. I don't remember all of it, but I do have some recollection.
It's kind of hard. I mean, it's weird because on certain levels, it's actually kind of easy that you just kind of know what you're supposed to do and you do it. But to do it, you have to have everything happening all at once perfectly. And then when one ball gets dropped, then boy, does it get interesting real fast. And those CFIs, the double I's, they like to fail things and they like to change things up and all that. So anyway, today was a very challenging day training. It was super windy, gusty. I was having a pretty hard time actually just with heading and altitude, just trying to keep within tolerances while doing everything because we were just getting slammed all around. So I was pretty worn out today. And then we go back to Bowling Green. I decided that we should land and use the facilities around my hangar, and I'll glance my car to make sure there's not a whole oil spill underneath it, so that that way at least I know what I'm getting into for, like, if I need my instructor to give me a ride home later or something. Like, is my car okay? So we checked it seemed fine. We got back in the plane, and one of the mags was on one of the mags. It seemed like one of the plugs was fouled or whatever. Sorted it out, not a big deal. And then we flew back to Gallatin. All right, so I'll speed this up. I'm just giving you a sense of I'm just worn out.
Right.
I'm absolutely worn out, and nothing, whether it's in the plane instrument training, nothing really extra can go wrong, or just in the circumstances surrounding the training. I'm running out of cars. I'm running out of time. I'm running out of everything. So it's a whole thing. We land at Gallatin. I just let him out. And I pretty much never have allowed people to get out of the plane with the plane running. I definitely don't let non-pilots get out of the plane with the plane running. That is a rule. My flight instructor, I mean, worst case scenario, I don't get the next invoice. You know what I mean? Like, it's fine.
Right. Or he's less one arm.
So, that'll teach you to fail the PFD one more time.
That's right.
So, right. No, but anyway, so checked the mags, everything was good. I started. So I took off at Gallatin runway 35, and I guess I can see here now that the winds were 290, 6 gusting 17. Took off 35. I got to about, let's see here, I was probably about 500 AGL right over the runway, and everything began to shudder violently, to the point where, you know, like when you have a wheel shimmy in a 172 and it seems like everything's just vibrating so much that you feel like that the avionics are just going to start falling out of the, you know, it was like that level of shaking started, and I didn't like it, guys. I didn't like it.
I would, yeah. I mean, yeah.
So
Vibrations are never really that good, especially when you're in the air.
not
You can
like
quote
that.
me on that.
Yeah. So about halfway down the runway, or over the runway at about 500 feet, as soon as I started to experience that, I just started veering out to the right to sort of sidestep the runway. And as I was doing that, you know, mixture, mags, checking everything, seeing if I kind of I leveled off a little bit to see if I could just lean and get it to stop, because I already had I think some altitude, but I didn't pull all the power. I just pulled it back a little bit to see if it would not be, because I thought that the plane was going to come apart. Anyway, this all happened very fast, but basically I veered away from the runway, made a call. There was another plane holding short, ready to take off, and another person taxiing, and somebody else in the pattern. And I just made the call, and I just said, you know, I'm having an engine problem. I'm going to return. I'm going to be landing runway 17. And so I, at that point, looked over. I knew that I had everything made. I found myself abeam the touchdown, you know, the 1,000 footers at more or less, a little bit less than pattern altitude. So I just pulled power and brought it in. But it was a really interesting dilemma, because there was a lot of tailwind, but I wasn't gonna. I was.
Oh yeah, you're not gonna like do a full pattern. You're
Yeah.
turning around.
Yeah, and that was the thing I think that was really interesting, at least at that stage, was just the calculus happened so fast. Everything, all of this happened so incredibly fast. And I think the weirdest thing about it was, since I've been going through so much instrument training, I almost, just looking outside and flying the plane and doing whatever, even with your hands tied or anything else, it was I was just so calm, and I just made I didn't want to sound alarmist. I got on the CTAF and just said, coming back runway 17, engine problem. And then I banked, and I started to come, you know, pretty well nose down towards the threshold of 17, trying to manage the speed so I'm not hitting the runway at, you know, 95 knots and then going off the other end with a 17 knot tailwind or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And so I'm coming in, and it was all happening so fast. I was very calm. I made the calls, no problem. I'm coming down. I'm all configured. I feel I'm just doing it felt like just doing another power off 180. Right at about the point where I started to really make the turn to line up with the runway, somebody got on the frequency, and they said, "You got this, man. You got it. You're looking good."
That's nice, though. I mean,
no,
people understand the gravity of the situation, and I appreciate that.
They did, but I didn't. It wasn't until that moment when the guy said that, where the gravity of what I was doing hit me at that moment. Until then, it had not. But I was fine. I got down, put it on pretty much 1,000 footers, and got off the runway, and somebody else came on the frequency and said, you know, "Good job getting that down, man." You know, another person chimes in, you know, "Good job. And I just thought, and then I taxied off, and I just thought, okay, where do I park? Okay, what am I going to do now? What's wrong with my plane? And so I call my instructor that I had just dropped off and said, "Look, you know, here's what's going on. I'm going to need a ride." And then we, you know, secured the plane and did whatever we got to do there, and then we got in the car, and then we decided we just needed to go get some food because we've been training all day, and so we go and we sit down, and it wasn't until I sat down and I was sitting there starting to eat where the gravity of all of that actually started to hit. It took about 40 minutes for all of that to kind of to register, and the way it occurred to me in my brain was, for a lot of people, that's just not a big. I mean, that's really. I mean, okay. I guess that's an emergency. I mean, that's an emergency.
It's 100%.
But I didn't think about it as, oh my gosh, I just survived this, this emergency. I just, so, but I thought about it next at that moment, I thought about it in the context of, if a non-pilot friend of mine who was never in the plane before, or even worse, if my wife were in the plane with me at that time, boy, would that have been an emergency that I would have been very well, more, they would have been reflecting the uncertainty of what was happening.
The heaviness would have been a lot higher.
It would have been a lot more. So anyway, I don't want to take up a bunch of time with that, but that's what I was doing. This happened 3 hours ago or something.
I just have a couple of quick comments. Number one, I don't know of a single soul who has practiced more power off 180s than you.
Yeah.
I mean that, because you just kind of do that as your normal practice.
I practiced one yesterday.
And so for you, it doesn't surprise me that it took. I'm surprised that gravity ever hit you at all, because it is something that is completely ingrained into your muscles. You have muscle memory for that. You've practiced that every which possible way which it could be practiced. So
I wasn't shaking. I wasn't.
No,
I wasn't adrenalized. I was almost just. I don't know. It was strange. I'm still kind of trying to figure this out.
Yeah. Well, it's that muscle memory, and that's why we train. And you've beat it in yourself so often that it might as well. It was an emergency, but in your brain, this is just another landing.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Kudos to you. I think that's a big deal, and I think a lot of people can take away from this is that, yes, practice those power off 180s. Just ask tower if you're in a towered field, or let people know you're doing a short approach.
Well, I just want to
power and just do it. So
I just want to add one thing, and that is that I said to my instructor, I've practiced a lot of power off 180s, the commercial maneuver standard power off 180. And the knock on those is that, what are the odds that you're going to have some sort of a power out or partial power situation, conveniently right abeam your touchdown point? I'm like, well, for me, that's exactly what.
It's probably 75% chance that that's going to happen.
So that did help. I mean, if I was at any other location, I do practice them from other locations, distances and things, but this one was especially easy because it was right there. But I think the thing that was interesting to me was just the multitasking of my setting up my geometry while I was trying to see if I could troubleshoot what was going on without doing anything drastic, and not leaving the runway area, but giving myself spacing so that the geometry would be right while I was sorting it out. That's the part of it that was curious to me, is I was already landing the plane while I was troubleshooting the plane. It's interesting. Yeah.
Real quick, and we need to get moving on. We got a lot to cover tonight.
Yep.
Our friend Elliot, I think, sums it up very nicely. Calm, cool, and collected wins every time. You don't rise to the level of the emergency. You sink to the level of your training. And that is absolutely true for you, Mr. Siskin. Well done.
Thanks.
I'm going to go through just a few bullet points that we have that we want to let everybody know about our big fly-in March 13th through the 15th, to be more specific. Thaden Invasion is what we're calling it. Victor Bravo Tango in Bentonville, Arkansas. Just a couple of things. Number one, the airport will not take any reservations. You cannot reserve your space. There is fairly limited parking. I think we have around 30 spots. It's first come, first serve. There's Rogers Field, which is a short drive away, KROG. And then there's also, they have their own airport. It's Fly Oz has an airport called Sugar Creek, which is 6 minutes from downtown Bentonville. We have access to that. There is no priority system. Please come. If there's no parking available, we'll let you know. Our friend Lewis will be coordinating all that. If you can, plane pool because of the limited parking. So if you're going to join us and you want to hang out with us and want to know where everything's happening, you need to get on our Discord server. There's a channel called 2026 Thaden Invasion. It's for all real-time updates. Also, you can check out midlifepilotpodcast.com/Thaden Invasion for regularly. We'll try to keep that up to date as well.
Yeah, I am really curious about Sugar Creek because it's you have to request permission to land there, and we have permission. Anybody can fly in there that wants to have this crowd, but camping is an option there, and I'm very curious if anybody in our crowd is planning on taking up on that and camping out there.
There's a clubhouse.
So, yeah, there's a clubhouse, should be showers and everything else. But let us know. I'd be kind of surprised if nobody does it, but it seems like a fun time.
Yeah,
definitely. One other thing I just want to throw out there about the event is that we have some things cooking. Don't forget, we're doing a live podcast as part of all this on that Saturday. We have, if I'm not mistaken, we have secured the space for that. Is that right, Ben?
the space has been secured.
Ooh,
Yes.
nice.
So we have for Friday and Saturday, we are going to have our own dedicated lounge area. Is that right?
We have our own dedicated lounge. Anybody in our group is allowed to come up and hang out with us, whether you've parked at Thaden Field or you're at Rogers or at Sugar Creek.
That's right.
Just tell the front desk, hey, I'm with those knuckleheads called the Midlife Pilot Podcast Group.
Yeah, and if you don't know what this looks like, go to the airport, the Thaden Field website and check
Legends
out.
Air Center is the website.
Yeah. But it's just a really beautiful place, and we're excited to be there. So anyway, but Ted, what you got?
The room that we have, it's on the second floor. It has great views, and it's actually the clubhouse for fly-Oz for people that are in that program. So, but they're letting us use it, which is really cool. So
That's
It's
awesome.
going to give us a place. I think what we're going to do is we're going to use it during the day up until dinner time, and then we'll go to dinner and do whatever after that. So that's kind of the plan of when to use it, just so we're not there, partying at 1 a.m., shooting fireworks at planes or anything like that. So
Yeah. Wait, we'll put that on the list. No,
exactly.
and without revealing anything, we just want to say that we are working in the background on also adding a little bit, one other piece of programming that would actually be of a sanctioned safety value. We'll just leave it at that for now. All right. So the point is things are developing and getting more clear and more jam-packed with awesome all the time.
Yeah. Brian, you want to take us into housekeeping?
Sure. You can join our Patreon community for Discord access and lots of exclusive content, more check ride debriefs, recent ATP debrief with Elliot and some others, right? There's just some really cool things happening there. Please, even if you, what is it, 25 cents per episode, you can support
That's correct.
the podcast. Yeah.
Yes.
So do whatever you can. We need all the help we can get. 10% supports Freedom Aviation Network's anti-human trafficking efforts. By the way, they are looking for pilots throughout Florida and Tennessee. Go to freedomaviationnetwork.org and learn more. For everything Midlife Pilot Podcast, feedback, merch, and more, visit midlifepilotpodcast.com. Ted's wearing his latest edition Midlife Pilot Podcast shirt. It's an aviation t-shirt. And how do we know that? Because it says aviation t-shirt.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's kind of my favorite right now. We had some new people join us in Patreon this week. 50% of them have last names starting with the same letter. And can I do that off the top of my head? 30% are Mikes, which is about right for our age range.
right.
At the Landomatic level, I want to thank Lyman H., Michael H., and Mike W. At the Hershey Bar level, I want to thank Max H., Nick M., and James M. So thank all of you for joining us. And
Thanks, guys.
Yes.
Thanks to the people that have left PayPal drops. We've had a few of those lately. And we've thanked them already, but it deserves extra because not everyone wants to do Patreon, and that's okay. So thanks for all that. Accomplishments in Discord this week. Boo Radley just sent pictures of flying. He took his family up flying for the first time since he got his license. And he's in Australia, and so the pictures are very beautiful because it's the Australian summer. Our friend Dev C passed his AGI and
Congrats.
managed to chase down a DPE very quickly to convert that. Long story. If you don't know what that means, that's okay. And Checkmate Barry shared a great story. It was great because it ended successfully, but it was a great story about having carb icing for the first time. He was on the ground. It was really foggy, and he was kind of doing a long run up. And so it's really interesting to read those and for people to have real world experiences with that.
Yeah.
And so thanks for sharing that, Barry.
Very cool. So tonight we wanted to get to our part 3, the last in our series of our ultimate guide to midlife pilotry. I just made that up, by the way. Pilotry is probably not really a word, is it?
I like it though. Pilotry.
Yeah. Pilotry, just, I don't know, just seems to fit. So for everybody, in part 1, if you missed these episodes, in part 1, we discussed the mindset for flying in midlife, the importance of community, and the struggle of being in a new learning environment. And then part 2, that would be episode 163, we covered training milestones and the practical realities of becoming a midlife pilot. Tonight, what we want to kind of finish up with is the safety mindset, using the aforementioned community as a support system, and probably, I wouldn't say most importantly, but lastly, we do want to talk about your aviation legacy. So in our guide, which you can get at midlifepilotpodcast.com.
For free.
For free.
And you don't have to give us an email address. You just get it.
Just download it. It's just there.
There's no pop-up that asks for your name and your email and
no gated
Brooks
content
emails to you. Yeah. No. There's a link at the top of the page.
This way. 23 pages of great info. But we wanted to start out talking about risk management and, our choices as pilots. At this point, we don't have to fly if we don't want to. The things that we can do as midlife pilots with family and creating adventures and stuff like that. So I kind of wanted to approach the risk management piece because it's an interesting dynamic from the day that you take your discovery flight to the day you cross 1,000 hours. That risk management picture looks very different. And I do recall I would probably cancel a solid third of or 2/3 of the flights when I was at 100 hours versus the number of flights I would cancel as a 1,000-hour pilot. But I want to hear from you guys. How do you, when you're talking to somebody that's wanting to become a pilot that doesn't know very much about it, how do you approach the risk management, the decision to fly or not fly? How do you approach that with them?
It took a lot. Go ahead, Brian. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I was just going to say, I try to parallel people's real world experiences that they have already. So if I know that they are in management for, I don't know, a construction company or something, I just explain to them that this is going to be a path in the same way that you develop that in your business. You have government compliance that you have to have met. You have your own standard operating procedures. You have all these things, but when you start out, it's a lot to learn it all, and there's a lot to figure. But in terms of discovery flight, like you mentioned, Ben, all the way through to being maybe a little bit more experienced, I think you learn. I think one of the coolest things that happens is the transformation between you just trying to learn all these ropes to protect perhaps just yourself, but maybe within the sphere of protection of an instructor, to then being out on your own, having very tight minimums, like you said, Ben, canceling a lot of flights because a lot of stuff just doesn't look right and you're not ready for it yet or whatever. And then you get to the point where you're, especially when you're flying with other people, you're taking your family, you're taking your friends, all that. And this is the stuff that anyone out there listening that is considering becoming a pilot in midlife, I know that you're imagining what it is to fly your family around. That is the golden picture that circulates in everybody's head about, I'm going to fly my family around. We're going to go on these great trips. I try to inform people that there's definitely potentials and that is a reality, but also there's so much before that, and don't be in a rush to get there. And I think that a lot of people really want to just get their license and go. And you do see accidents, you see fatal accidents with situations just like this. So knowing what the risks are, knowing how to build your own assessments about risk, and following your experience level is going to be something you're going to have to monitor and do, just like you would do in your job or any other facet of life. So that's what I try to, if somebody's talking to me about wanting to become a pilot and they want to understand more about it, from a midlife perspective, you can always find something in their existing life that they can relate.
Yeah. Wow, you sound like a CFI there, huh? My DPE basically said she wasn't concerned about my decision making because we're not 20 anymore. Our brains are developed. We understand risk, and we generally have that kind of instinct to avoid doing things that we might have done when we were 20, especially as males at 20.
100%.
And I say that, and then I remember that yesterday I was standing on the top of a tall ladder with one of those chainsaw on a stick, leaning up, getting a huge branch down, and timing it so that I was running down off the ladder before it crashed into me. So maybe
chainsaw popsicle.
Yeah. So, yeah. But anyway, most of the time we have better instincts on that. I really struggled with weather and the weather being good enough, and should I cancel? Do I understand how it's changing? Those types of things. But this is something that we all learned especially in those first 100 hours of what are the things you need to think about, and they're new. Aviation is completely new to you, and getting those skills. But you can take, as Brian said, you can take other parts of your life and apply it to that. You know how to assess risk in an approximate way, and that's really what it's about. So that is one thing I think we tend to do a little bit better on as midlifers.
It directly related to this subject, and I think this makes a great point.
Yeah.
Mr. Z Powell in our chat is in his private pilot certificate journey right now, and he says, I'm still working on PPL. I was in the plane today, pre-flight done, and the METAR updated to show winds and gusts outside of what was feasible for me to fly in. It hurt to cancel, but it was correct. And that's the point that I really wanted to make is especially when you start, and we'll get to some comments. We have another person in our chat who is just starting his journey. Man, when you get the bug and you start learning, it's going to hurt to cancel, but it is absolutely the right thing to do. So I applaud you for that. And we have said on this show many times, especially last year at the fly-in at Tango 82 and at Gillespie, we would applaud people. We would give them shout-outs for not coming because it was beyond their weather minimums, or for whatever minimums that may have applied. So it needs to be rewarded because
reframe that. It should not be a stigma that is lesser or any of that. Now, I would say that as midlifers, we also have in our lives been fixated on accomplishing a goal and stopping at nothing, including jumping off of ladders with popsicle chainsaws or whatever. And we will put ourselves in peril without thinking sometimes. And so it's important to just recognize that this whole thing is it's just not a joke. And when you cancel flights, there's going to be some flights you cancel where the weather was actually way better than you were worried about, and you totally could have gone, and it will be a bummer. And then there'll be other times where it was actually worse than what you thought, and you chose not to go, and you are thanking your lucky stars. And eventually you have enough of those cancellations together to form this general collage of, I'm not going to worry about this. If I don't like it, I don't like it. And if I don't like anything, I'm going to cancel a flight. And sometimes it works out for the better. So you can't control the past, the present, the future. We're not time travelers. We're not, there's no, I haven't been to one seance at any flight school.
Nope.
So keep that in mind.
It's, I've said this on the podcast many times. I've got 3 boys. They're older now. And I thought raising 3 boys would teach me patience. Nothing has taught me patience more than aviation. Period. End of story. It's going to happen. Someone in our chat, Christopher Bowers 7219 said, currently working on PPL. I've had to cancel due to weather. Super frustrating, but definitely was the right call. So it is absolutely super frustrating, but I promise you, you will get to the end and you will learn from it.
So one way to sort of dovetail some of this is, if you're looking to become a pilot, you should know that you're going to be working with something called personal minimums, or you should be. And you're just going to have hard caps on various weather conditions and things that you will or won't go, so that it doesn't become a subjective decision in the moment. So you don't get captured by the will to go. We call it get there-itis, all of that. You're going to have some things put in place, and you're going to have accountability partners in that. You're going to have those minimums shared with an instructor or friend, another pilot, spouse, whatever it is. And so we spend a lot of time imagining ourselves as NTSB crash reports, and thinking, what do we not want that crash report to say? So without being too dark about it, that's kind of real. So you're doing that. But the interesting thing about it is it's all on a continuum, and the continuation really flows into education. We say this all the time. We know, us current pilots, we know this, but you should know as an aspiring midlife pilot that you are, you hear people say things like it's a journey. Okay. This is not an ayahuasca thing. Okay. This is it should not be an ayahuasca. I can't spell it, but I know that it's not something. So anyway, the point is, continuing education is, you're all on this continuum now. And so your minimums will grow as your experience grows. But when you get out of the nest with your private pilot training, when you tell somebody, or when I tell somebody, well, technically the requirements are 40 hours, to get your private pilot certificate, or what do we all say right behind that?
But it took me blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
A lot longer than 40 hours.
Yeah. And good. Thank God for that. Because
that's right.
Yeah.
If I got turned loose at 40 hours, I would not be around for 80. No. So, I mean, some people, I guess, theoretically can pull that off, but it's not.
What's the most common phrase that a DPE or an instructor will tell you on the day that you pass your private pilot check ride?
I was waiting for this. It's actually the phrase I dislike the most, although I like the concept.
Right.
Go ahead.
It is your license to learn.
Yes.
It is. So
make that into a drinking game. You will hear that all the time in aviation.
You'll be not sober for a while. So to your point, Brian, I'm 1,300 hours. I am still, I've been meaning to reach out to someone in our chat, Erica. I kind of want to go audit her advanced IFR course. Mm-hmm. I haven't been through one in a while. I am always seeking something to learn or keep my brain in that gear. So I do agree with that.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. I mean, and the cool thing is we've got this whole community here with people that are doing seminars or, writing books or
Yeah.
making up new checklists, or there's so many awesome people in this community that are doing so many amazing things and do it because they want to be a part of it. And so that really brings us to community, which we touched on in the beginning, but you're going to rely on this community that you build as a support system. And I've said it before, I wanted to start a podcast with Chris back in the day because I didn't have anybody to talk to. I didn't have anybody. I had no community, no peer group, no cohort, nobody to bounce anything off of other than just my instructor, who I would feel guilty for asking, questions to that were not on the clock. Right. So, but anyway, so community, that's what it's all about. How's that going for you guys?
Ben and I both kind of came into the podcast community. Well, I guess technically everybody came into the podcast community, but it was, it was a journey for both of us, and different journeys. But I think it was finding this community was really kind of eye-opening for me. It was good to kind of find our people and to find people other than CFIs at the airport. The thing that I always struggled with was actually kind of the emotional side of learning to fly. And is it normal to feel a little anxious? Is it normal to freak out a little bit when that when that plane passes underneath you when you're in the pattern? What is happening? And then just struggling the radio after that because I'm just so rattled. CFI's like, keep flying the plane. It's but I need to. Can we talk? Like,
How's the simulator?
Yeah, exactly. And so that's something that your CFI may or may not be good at that, and that's okay. And finding people that can share experiences with you, can talk about their frustrations, can talk about, like our friend Rescue Rat, about epic check ride delays and the frustration for that. We've all got different experiences like that, but they kind of rhyme, and it's nice to be able to hear those from each other.
I love seeing in our Discord. I don't love seeing this. Let me rephrase that or reframe it. There will be the occasion where somebody has a notice of discontinuance on their check ride, and if you're new to this whole process,
Disapproval.
A disapproval, which means that they failed a specific maneuver, which means that you have to go back and retest for it. And it is crushing, and it's just demoralizing. And it happened on my private pilot check ride, and I had nobody to commiserate with. I had my brother-in-law who had 15,000 hours and hadn't failed anything in 27 years. And he was supportive, don't get me wrong. But when I see it happen on the Discord server, I'm one of the first to say, listen, it happens. It is not the end. I want to be super supportive of them. And because I wished I had that when I was going through it.
Yeah.
And I think that the support of the community and just how there's no negativity in there. It is such a supportive, I wish there was a better way to describe it, but I went to this meetup because after the first 5 episodes of listening to you and Chris, I identified with 100% of everything that you're saying. I was just a couple of years ahead of you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what brought me in. So,
well, and we keep in mind, we have a Discord and we do events and we are around, but that's one aspect. You're going to have a broad sample of people to talk to through our community, but make sure you're present at your local airport. Make sure you are mixing it up and getting involved in EAA or any of the other avenues, the 99s. There's just so many. I can tell you right now, every aviation group that I've ever been exposed to in terms of just helping out in some way with one of their events or attending or whatever, there are so many people working so hard to create so much for lack of a better term, programming. And it's, in a lot of ways, you'll feel the gravity of this as you get out to the more rural airports, especially, where, there's a whole generation of people that are about to fold over and to the next, and there's a lot of knowledge to pick up. There's a lot of stories to be heard and told and all that. So just don't we're not, this does not supplant the actual, although this is good for people like Ted that are not very good in group environments.
Yes.
This is great training for Ted to switch from that introverted lifestyle to the extroverted lifestyle. So,
yeah.
Which kind of leads us into, I'm going to call it a generational thing. Some of us started flying in 2017, and some of them are learning how to fly in 2026. And so that creates different, your age does not matter here. It's where you are in your training, but it's that legacy piece of it. And the mindset of just creating these memories beyond logbooks. It's being a mentor to the next generation, which was kind of where I was going with it. With when I kind of came on and we first met out at Outer Banks, I just kind of felt like, all right, these guys are kind of all in the same ballpark of their training journey. I'm a little bit ahead of them. If they ask for help, I'll give it to them, and if they don't, I'll keep my mouth shut and smile and nod. But I felt like it was an opportunity for me to reinvigorate everything that I was doing through my training.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense.
Well, you were, to not do it in a vacuum, right? And then have something, it's an amplifier when you can all of a sudden offer something to other people, and, because of your experience on any level. And it's a strange thing because it is a highly regulated, full of misinformation and wrong answers place, aviation. And you've got to really make sure you're sticking to sanctioned sources of information and getting the right information. Be prudent, just in the same way you consume or evaluate any information out there. And all that to be said, there's some real value in anecdotal stories, but just make sure that when you're a new pilot, that you know how to put those on different shelves at different levels. You're going to meet some people that are really aggressive about their pilot mentality, and and they're going to try to push things on you and say, oh, you shouldn't worry about that, right? They're going to pass on these what they call hazardous attitudes. There's going to be a lot of bravado and kind of macho attitudes and things that you need to be able to sense and contain and not be overly affected by. And you don't want to become somebody that is overly confident or brash, and you need to be humble. And that's what this is all about.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think there's another angle to the kind of this legacy component, and it ties back into the community a little bit too. But I am so excited when we see people that are just taking their first discovery flight, when they're soloing, when they're completing their first check ride. I'm so excited when we saw our friend Elliot go through his ATP check ride and debriefed that. At all levels, it's so cool to hear about. And I'm so excited for everybody and to see them go through those experiences, and especially like remembering that first solo experience, and you talk to someone and it reminds you of yours and how great it was, and you see how excited they are. And so that there's something to be said for that side of the community and of the legacy creation as well.
There's one more point, and we'll get to, I want to get to Corey's comment that he made earlier in the podcast, but we talk about creating memories, and I can still remember it yesterday, and I know that we've all had them, Ted, you and Brian. I remember I was a private, I didn't have my instrument, and got stuck by a thunderstorm with my youngest son doing a pilots and pause mission. We're jumping fences. He asked me if I remembered that 2 days ago when he was home from school, and I told him it's one of my fondest memories. During the time, I was thinking, this is, I'm never going to forget this, and I wasn't sure how it was going to go, but, you're going to create those memories getting stuck somewhere, or you're canceling a flight because of A, B, or C. So anyway, We've kind of hit this. Let's go ahead and hit Corey's comment, Ted, and then I'll wrap it up. So Corey writes in our chat earlier. He said, "Hey guys, Corey here. I wrote in a few shows ago about starting flight school this year. Well, I took my discovery flight today. It was amazing and humbling at the same time. I have 1 flight hour now.
That's right.
That's one more than a dead man. So good for you. Nope, just kidding. It's and then Rich says, "Congrats, you will never again be able to afford drugs." So you're welcome.
Oh, the FAA loves this show.
Yes, they do. No, but that's awesome, Corey. And we're gonna beg you, keep us posted on your flight journey. Keep telling us how things are going. So everybody out there listening, you have our toolkit. We've talked through it. You know how to access it. It's midlifepilotpodcast.com, and you will see it's a free download. We're not asking for any information. Aspiring pilots, go get it. Contact AOPA. Start your journey. Current pilots, share this resource. Mentor the next generation. You're part of the support system that makes this community so special. Remember, we are all learning, and we're all happy to share our experiences, good, bad, or indifferent. Share them. And what do we say? Welcome to aviation. You're going to love it here. So,
yeah.
We got some feedback that we want to get to. And Ted, I believe you know this person.
Yeah, so we have some specific feedback, and then we have some kind of general podcast feedback. This first one is from my main CFI, also has been a CFI for Windy and some other people. That's Sam Terrell. He goes by Northwest Aeronaut on his YouTube channel, and he's a generally pretty good expert on things. And he heard us talking about medicals, and he wanted to give us a little bit of a correction, which is really a correction to the whole aviation community, because it's something that people aren't really thinking through. So I'm going to play that audio now.
Hello, all you midlife pilots out there, and to you gentlemen here on the podcast. This is Sam Terrell, the Northwest Aeronaut, as I am known in some circles. Hey, I just wanted to reach out to you guys because I was listening to one of your recent episodes, and great stuff you guys have been putting out lately. I really appreciate it. I think it was Brian on one of the recent episodes where you guys were talking about medicals and the importance of medicals and getting medicals up front and getting them situated. And, Brian just made a throwaway comment kind of about how you need a medical before you solo if you're going for private pilot, but not if you're going for sport pilot, because as you stated, sport pilots don't need medicals. They just need their driver's license. And I was yelling through the car speaker as I was listening, and I actually just stopped the podcast and I called up my buddy Ted to tell him. And I wanted to weigh in because, as of Mosaic here in October, what we have to understand and remember, and this is something I've been educating my fellow flight instructors on, is there is no distinction between a private student pilot and a sport student pilot. A student pilot is a student pilot. And so now with Mosaic and the expansion of aircraft that a sport pilot can fly, to include things like 172s and Cessna 150s and so on, realistically, a student pilot does not need a medical to solo at all, no matter what they're pursuing, assuming they are in an aircraft that is permissible to be flown by a sport pilot. So a private pilot student or candidate only needs a medical by the time they arrive for their check ride, their private pilot check ride. Up until that point, there's no distinction between a sport pilot student or a private pilot student, and it makes everyone's lives a little bit easier and more flexible. So just thought I'd throw that out there. Thanks for all you guys are doing. Look forward to talking with you guys soon.
That is something that people aren't thinking about. Right?
No, absolutely not. Where the hell was that 8 years ago, 7 years ago?
Yeah.
For crying out loud.
Okay, since I angered Sam to the point where he had to yell and scream at his radio, pull over, and call Ted. I just want to say I'm sorry. We put a disclaimer in this thing all through it. All we do is talk about how we are not flight instructors. All that to be said. I love that. I think that what I was conflating is flight schools, many of them, if I recall correctly, irrespective of the FAA and the definitions and all that, a flight school and insurance or whatever, all the things, don't they ask you? It seems like my flight school basically said, if you want to solo and you're going for private pilot, then you need to get your medical before you solo. And I'm trying to remember if is that how that worked? Not that it's legal, that's require
until like 3 months ago, that was true legally that you had to have it. You could not solo until that. The point is that basically,
I still don't understand.
You are a student pilot. It doesn't matter if you're a sport pilot or a private pilot. Student pilots are student pilots.
Yeah, I get that.
So you can solo basically as a sport pilot, even though it doesn't really matter. But actually, it does matter at that point because you are exercising the privileges of a sport pilot on that solo. And that is a new thing. And there's going to be a lot of schools, a lot of CFIs that don't understand that. A lot that don't understand their own insurance policy.
I see. So I'm still stuck on the old pre-Mosaic. Yes. So I'm remembering it correctly. It's just that he's just saying that's different now.
Yes.
Okay. And with all these things that are Mosaic related, and now we're turning a page into the future, it does beg the question about how are people responding to this? How are insurance companies and flight schools catching up to all of this to reflect those realities?
Yes. I think that it still holds that we strongly recommend getting the medical sorted out before starting flight training.
If you're
getting a medical or not, right?
Right.
Wait, what are we saying?
We're saying that you should know what you're going to do about a medical before.
Oh, what you're going to do
training.
About it. Oh, yes. Yeah. Yes. You should know the landscape. Yeah.
But I've always talked about, you'd see the kind of dejected students standing around the airport who can't do their first solo because they're waiting for their medical that's been delayed.
Yeah.
And that's what doesn't have to exist anymore. So,
well, unless they've applied for the medical and been denied.
Yeah. Or they're currently deferred for it. Yeah. I want to hit up a quick comment from James M in the chat. He says, so if I let my third class lapse, I can continue to fly as a sport pilot in 182 as long as your 182 qualifies, which they mostly do for the stall speed. Yes, you can. Even a high performance 182 qualifies. So back into our sport pilot things. But since we're talking about that, I wanted to cover that real quick.
For everything Mosaic, go listen to our episode where Ted broke all of this down perfectly, eloquently, and went in hard on the whole thing. So please go back. I forget what episode that is, but we'll link it in the show notes.
Put in the show notes.
And also, I just want to say to Sam that I really appreciate his. I hate to call it content, but I really appreciate what he's made, said, done. I've watched and listened to a lot of things, and I really am sorry for the fact that the only thing I have to give back to Sam is infuriating him.
Notice I haven't said anything because I too like Sam's content. His YouTube videos are fantastic, and I don't want to piss Sam off, so I just keep my mouth shut.
Yeah, I'll put links to his podcast and his YouTube channel in the show notes. I'm also going to put a link to XKCD 386, which is the comic that is exactly what happened to Sam in this. So that'll make sense to some people, and when you see it, you'll understand what I'm saying.
All right, we do have a review. Brian, do you want to hit this one?
Sure. Is this Working 170 that left this?
That is who left this. That's exactly
Working
right.
170. We all would like a Working 170.
Absolutely.
This podcast is well worth the time for those of us in midlife with a passion for aviation. After receiving my private over 25 years ago, life happened, and I did not continue flying. All these years later, I've been in a position to, how did I get, oh, I see there's another word, current, later. Okay. All these years later, I've been in a position to renew my passion, get current, acquire my tailwheel and high performance endorsements, acquire an instrument and commercial ratings, and buy an aircraft. The long days alone I spend are filled with any aviation podcasts that I can find. I'm glad that we were one.
He was
Technically, we
reaching down
qualify.
toward the bottom
Yeah.
of the
Yeah.
barrel, but he
Yeah.
found us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This one looks sad.
Yeah.
I've been able to go back and listen to all of the Midlife Pilot podcasts, and I'm very appreciative to this crew. You just got to play it on 1.5 speed to get through all the uhs and ums. Overall, great content. Thanks, gang. So I love that. He basically said, I think you guys are great. Please stop. The uhs and the ums. Listen, like can we address this some other time? But we could choose to. There's two options. We could get better as speakers and podcasters, which is clearly not going to happen.
Actually, we couldn't, but theoretically we could. Yes.
Or there is software that will automatically go and remove all of them.
Yes.
But you know what happens? It sounds weird.
Yes.
It sounds fragmented.
I am going to put forth that going forward, I am going to reduce, not get rid of, but reduce my uhs and ums, because I feel like I'm the major abuser of that. See, I just did it. Didn't even think about it.
Oh, this is a bad road for us to go down.
Bad road.
Once
Let's
you're
go
aware
ahead
of
and
this-
wrap this puppy up
Yeah.
before it goes any
So
further down.
thanks for Working 170 for planting a grenade inside our podcast and watching it explode from far away. No, I really appreciate it. And I love it when people are away from aviation for a while and this is something they can enjoy on their way back. So that's cool.
Yep. Very cool. Everybody, don't forget to leave us a 5-star review like Working 170 did, and you can absolutely destroy me with my uhs and ums. I'll take it. Hit subscribe on your podcast app. Gentlemen, any final comments for the good of the order? We've got a great one coming up next week, but anything else?
We're good.
Yeah.
Tonight's Words of Wisdom is back from IFR World, and doing this one just for you, Brian. Right now, my iPad can't help me now. I'm in the soup, and the instructor's grinning. Episode 164 is coming to an end. Guys, we really appreciate everybody in the chat and everybody out there listening to us. Thanks. Signing off. See you guys next week.